Hi guys, welcome sa Biyaheng Real Life TV featuring Hugot Sipnayan. At para sa topic natin for today, so we're going to discuss simplifying complex fraction. So in Filipino, so tara alamin natin to mga ka-real life. Alamin natin ang process na pag-simplify ng complex fraction. Now, what is a complex fraction? So by definition, a complex fraction is a rational expression that has fraction on the numerator and denominator or both. So for some example, guys, so we have 1/2 over 3/4. So, merely looking, guys, the numerator is a fraction and the denominator is a fraction. So, ibig sabihin, if we're dealing with complex fraction, ang numerator and denominator ng complex fraction ay isang rational algebraic expression. For some example, so merely guys, complex fraction is just having fraction on the numerator and denominator. Now, how are we going to simplify complex fraction? Now, let's try to have the first step. For method number 1, we need to rewrite the numerator and denominator as they are each a single fraction. So, gagawin po natin isang single fraction, ang numerator and denominator, by using simplifying them, or using LCD, by simplifying them, and making them into a single fraction. Combining all the parts of the numerator and denominator into one fraction, and hence with also the denominator, and making them one fraction. For step number 2, we're going to divide the numerator by the reciprocal of the denominator, or what we call the divisor. So after nun, guys, we proceed to multiplication by simplifying their common factor. Let's have some example. If I'm going to give you some example here, for the first method, we have 4 all over x squared minus 1 all over 5 all over x plus 1. So, this is a complex fraction since the numerator and denominator are both in the fractional form. Now, the first step, we write the numerator and denominator into single fraction. Let's have the first step first. So, dito ang ginawa natin, since ang numerator and denominator ay single fraction, we proceed to the second step. Ang second step natin, multiply the numerator by the reciprocal of the denominator. So, the denominator here is 5 all over x plus 1. We get the reciprocal, it will turn to be an x plus 1 all over 5. So, we get the reciprocal of such thing. Now, if we're proceeding for multiplication, ang gagawin natin, guys, kailangan natin siyang i-factor out para makancel natin yung mga common factor. So, by factor them out, nag-multiply tayo ngayon, we will come up with 4 times x plus 1 all over 5 quantity x squared minus 1. So, ngayon, factorin natin siya. So, yung nasa ilalim natin, x squared minus 1 will be factorable into x plus 1, x minus 1. Now, we're going to simplify them by canceling the common factor, which is an x plus 1. So, making them an answer, 4 all over 5 quantity x minus 1, or multiplying the denominator to become 4 all over 5x minus 5. For our next example, having the same method, we have 1 plus 1 over a all over 1 minus 1 all over a. Now, we're writing them into single fraction for our first step. We got an LCD of a. So here, guys, 1 is just 1 over 1. 1 is just 1 over 1. Now, if we have 1 as their denominator, we have an a as another denominator, we will have an LCD of a. That's how we come up with a plus 1 all over a. So, saan po nanggaling yun? Kung LCD natin ay a, yung 1 ay 1 all over 1, a divided by 1 is 1 times 1 is a. Kaya po may a dito. Yung 1 pong yun, since ang denominator nyo kanina ay a, kinapi lang yung 1 na yun. Same thing with the denominator. Ang LCD nito ay A divided by the denominator of 1, which is 1, times 1 is A. Kaya po may A dito. Kung mapapansin nyo, A divided by A, yun yung 1 na yun. A divided by A, yun po yung 1 na yun. Okay? Now, so we simplify that using the LCD for the numerator and denominator. Now, we multiply the numerator by the reciprocal of the denominator. So, yun po mangyayari diyan. So, ito turn out to be an A plus 1 all over A times A all over A minus 1. Ito po yung reciprocal niya. Ito po reciprocal nun. Okay? So, after nun, we need to simplify them as possible. We can cancel out the common factor, which is A. And the answer is A plus 1 all over A minus 1. So, that is dividing rational algebra expression. Okay? Now, so for our third example, for the first method, we have 1 minus 4 all over x squared all over x plus 2 all over 8. Now, ang numerator lamang ating i-simplify since siya yung wala sa single fraction form. So, ang ating ginawang LCD na is x squared divided by the denominator of 1, which is 1, become an x squared times 1 is x squared. That's why we have an x squared here. So, just we need to copy negative 4 since the denominator of negative 4 is x squared. So, ngayon, meron tayong single fraction na x squared minus 4 all over x squared. Now, we get the reciprocal of x plus 2 all over 8. It turned to be an 8 all over x plus 2. Ngayon, pwede na tayong mag-factor. X squared minus 4 will become an x plus 2, x minus 2. Ngayon, magka-cancel po tayo, which is a common, x plus 2. And we have an 8 quantity, x minus 2 all over x squared. Or, simplifying them further, become an 8x minus 16 all over x squared. So, yun po yung first method natin, dividing rational algebra expression. So, may mas efficient step to. Ito yung step number 2. I try to recommend ang step number 2 kasi mas madali po siyang gamitin. Now, for step number 2, or the method number 2, we're going to use the least common denominator. Ang gagawin natin sa first step, kukunin natin yung LCD ng buong numerator and denominator. So, ibig sabihin, lahat ng denominator ng numerator at lahat ng denominator ng complex fraction, kukunin natin. Tapos, kukunin natin yung pinaka-main LCD niya. Tapos, i-multiply siya dun sa whole complex fraction, numerator and denominator. Let's have this one. Ibig sabihin, if we're going to multiply the numerator and denominator by the overall complex fraction LCD, kasi recall natin, dapat yung exact same thing ang numerator, guys. Pag nang-multiply tayo ng LCD sa ibabaw, LCD sa ilalim, para tayo nagawa ng equivalent fraction. Kaya ang mangyayari sa kanya, parang hindi mo binaging equation. Kinuha mo lang yung equivalent fraction niya. Now, after nun, magsisimplify tayo. Let's have some example para malaman natin. If we're going to use the second step here, we have 1 plus 1 all over A all over 1 minus 1 all over A. Ito yung kaparesong kanina. Ngayon, ang kinuha natin LCD sa kanya, yung A. Since ang denominator lang naman sa ibabaw is A, ang denominator sa ilalim is A, di ba? Now, we have here, we multiply A to the whole equation. So, we distribute A here. So, 1 times A is A, that's why we have an A dito. 1 all over A, that's why we have an A here. So, 1 times A is 1A. 1 all over A times A, that's why we have an A here. Now, simplify natin, pwede tayong mag-cancel out. Ngayon, yung na-cancel out natin, parang wala ng denominator ngayon. Ibig sabihin, we turn to make it both into single fraction. Now, simplifying them, so 1 times A is A. We have 1 here, that's why we cancel out A here. Kaya may 1 tayo doon. 1 times A is A. So, negative 1 times the cancellation nito, wala na sila, 1, kaya naging 1 yun. Okay? Mas madaling gamitin yung second step natin na least common denominator. Okay? Now, let's have another example here. If you have 2 all over x minus 2 all over 3x all over 1x minus 5 all over 6x. So, kukunin natin yung LCD niya. We have x, 3x, x, and 6x. So, ang LCD niya ay 6x. So, paano nangyari yun? We have 3x and 6x. So, common naman yung x sa kanila. Highest is 6x. So, LCM ng lahat ay 6x. Ngayon, we're going to distribute 6x on the whole equation. Same thing with what we have done on the first example for the method number 2. Ngayon, magka-cancel out tayo. Yun, kinancel out natin. On the first pattern, 2 all over x times 6x, ang kinancel natin ay x. Next pattern, negative 2 all over 3x times 6x, ang kinancel natin ay 6x at saka 3x. So, yung 2x ay magiging 2. Sa ilalim naman, 1 all over x times 6x, ang kinancel natin yung x. So, negative 5 all over 6x times 6x, ang kinancel naman natin yung 6x. Ito yung matitira sa kanila pag nag-cancel out tayo. Multiplying them, we have 6 times 2 on the top, minus 2 times 2. Kinuha lang po yung mga natitirang constant o natitirang term. So, 1 times 6 and 5 times 1. Simplifying them, it will become a 12 minus 4 and 6 minus 5 or 8. So, dito, kinuha lang natin yung main LCD, tapos multiply natin siya on the whole equation. Okay? So, pwede kayong mag-cancel out as long as merong common factor sa kanila. Lagi naman may common yan kasi since bahagi ng main LCD yung mga denominator na nabanggit. So, let's have another example. We have 2 all over a squared b plus 3 all over ab squared all over 4 all over a squared minus b squared minus 1 all over ab. So, complex fraction nga siya talaga. So, dito ang LCD natin, a squared b squared. So, having a squared b squared as the LCD, so we're going to multiply them on the whole equation. So, distribute na siya isa-isa. Ngayon, pwede tayong mag-cancel out. A squared tsaka a squared. Cancel out 1 yun. B and b squared, naging b. A squared and a become an a. Kaya may natirang a sa ibabaw. So, b squared and b squared is 1. 1 po yan. 1 din yan. A. Okay, tandaan niyo po ba yung law of exponent? Nagsusubtract tayo ng exponent kapag tayo nagdi-divide ng variable having the same okay, variable having exponent po. Magpang-minus tayo ng exponent nila. Kapag pares ang nilang base. Okay, rather. Pares ang base. Well, b and b squared, b. So, natira, 2b plus 3a all over 4 minus ab. Yun natira lamang. 2b, 2 times b, 2b. 3 times a, 3a. 4, yun po yung 4 na yun. 1 times ab, yun po yung ab. Okay? So, yun po yung mga step natin. So guys, I hope you learned something from our discussion. So, we have method number 1, we have method number 2. As long as you know what to do and you know how to get the LCD, okay lang po yun. Kahit anong step ang pwede nyo gawin. Guys, if you have some question on our video, you may write it down below. Try to comment it. And if you have further suggestion kung paano masagutan yung topic in a much further way, very welcome po tayo para i-feature out yan. Okay po. Thank you guys. So, God bless you on the next video. You may try to follow my page, guys. So, this one. And we have on the Instagram and on the YouTube, guys. I have learned something. Ingat po and God bless. Ingat po lahat. Ingat po mga ka-relike.